But the banana trees, there are a lot of banana trees, red banana trees. One, two
And then
banana trees.
A card. And then I go, oh, hey, I'm with card. You know, oh, is this one or five? No, this is Elgers.